I'm Cash, and welcome back to Cash Talks Football, where we break down all the goals scored in the Premier League. And today it's Manchester City against Brighton. Manchester City are still very, very vulnerable, and there's lots to talk about because Brighton should have walked away with 3 points in this one, and you're going to see why when we break it down. But I want to go over this first sort of non-goalie thing here, where the keeper's got it in his hands, hasn't got it in his hands. The keeper does not have control of this ball. The keeper doesn't have it in his hands. He doesn't. Look, he's going for a header, dump, and he drops it. Is it because the guy crashes into him? Well, that's not the right... You could say that, but not really. It's like, is that a foul if the guy is running and the keeper's running and they hit each other and he drops the ball? They're going to call it a foul, but is it a foul? Because this happens very rarely, by the way. This is one of those instances that you think, okay, yeah, we see this a lot. No, you don't. Not with the player and the goalkeeper both sort of hitting each other because they're both in motion. And then because of that, one of them loses possession of the ball. He just happens to be the goalkeeper. And that means, well, it's a foul. And it's not a goal. Both of them run into each other. Both of them end up falling over. Is the goalkeeper fouling the guy? Because the keeper didn't get the ball. We had it for a bit and then he lost possession. So it's one of those awkward things to me that just, it's never really cleared up. And it's always just sort of, either way it goes, there's going to be a whole bunch of people sort of disappointed. But let's move it on because we do have a lot to talk about. So this goal starts all when Brighton lose possession here, right? Now you've also got to look at 1, 2, and that player isn't there. They're too far in. This is a problem, okay? Spacing is one of the most important parts of playing football. It really is. Because if you're not in the right positions when you don't have the ball or you do have the ball, you cannot react to what happens immediately after. So when he ends up losing the ball here in midfield, what's the problem happens? Boom, there we go. Now there's a problem. Because they've pushed too far up and they're too close together, there's no need for them to be there. All of a sudden, looking for a foul, which you're not fouled, you've got a problem here and here. Now, here's the other, right, when I start breaking this down a little bit more for you, you're going to understand what I'm talking about, because the centre-back is just a little bit too far over to recover. And should he be because you've got possession of the ball? Yeah, you should be back a little bit more. And the reason why is because the ball's only here. If this is where the football is, you as a centre-back, you don't want to be up as far as he is. Look, that's probably where he wanted to be, about there. That's probably not bad. He's gone too far too early. And that's one of the things you see quite a lot happening in the Premier League nowadays, is players go too early. And when that's why they get caught on the transition so much easier. Now, does that mean that you have to, the game is slowed down a little bit because you want people to get up and support in your transition? Yes. But you also don't get vulnerable to things like this. So as the ball's played through Haaland, you can see here, those two players that were right next to each other are in the same place doing nothing, which is the same thing. Two people, same thing, didn't win the ball, completely out of shape. You can see like 1, there would have been 2, he would have been going with his runner, he would have been ignoring the ball, and then the centre-backs wouldn't be in a situation where they're in all sorts of trouble. Like, he doesn't know where he needs to go. Does he go to the player out wide or does he go to the ball? Well, he should go to the ball, but immediately as soon as he steps there, he's going to open up that extra pocket of space that's already there because there is no covering player, because he's gone for a wander into midfield too early. And you hear this thing like, because who's it, Carl Walker and Trent were playing the inverted fullback. There's a very, very difference in playing for it on certain teams and on other teams, because your midfield don't give the ball away that easily and you don't get bypassed by one pass. Well, it does happen to Trent quite often, but yeah, that's one of the problems when you have these little modified formations, or you take it on yourself to jog into midfield and let a player behind you be unmarked. Very big problem. So the next issue you've got is this, is the centre-back. Remember, he was kind of facing this way. Now he's turned and his shoulders are here. That's the way he's facing. So the ball is going to get played behind him. So he has to turn and run this way, where this guy can just go on full pelt. You can see he's already got the afterburners on and he's running into the space. He can't do anything. These guys are completely out of the equation. Now, he hasn't been coached properly, because as you can see, he was facing this way and now he's facing this way. All right. So one of the main things when you're learning to turn properly is he should have turned out on his right shoulder this way and he would have been here. He didn't. He turned out on his left shoulder, and which way is he facing? Down the field instead of defending back this way. That matters. That's the difference of a high level defender and somebody not understanding what he's doing. He's not a Zoolander. He can only go, can't turn left. He needs to be able to turn right there and actually just go straight for the ball. Little turn. If he turns right, that turn, and he's facing that way, it's completely different. And his next a step forward is there. Now his next step forward is going to be turning where he should have turned in the first place. That makes sense. So think about how many goes he gets. So Haaland gets to go to pass the ball, so he gets to go to turn. He gets to go to take a first touch, he gets to turn again, and he should have now be at the same position he was if he made his first turn correctly, which would have been there. So he's taken 2 goes to get to where he would have got in 1 go if he made the right turn on his right shoulder. I'm hoping I'm explaining that to you properly. So much easier when I'm on a football field and I can move you and show you a walking formation. Think about it. He gets to go, that's 1 foot. You get to walk forward, that's 2 foot. That's a go. Everyone gets a turn. Think of it as a board game. But it's that quick. That's how you want to think of it. So when he takes a touch, look, now he's got a turn. And that's the exact same place he was a second ago if he had turned out on his right shoulder. Yeah. Doesn't know what he's doing. Well, he probably does, but the coaches don't, because that isn't good enough. Now you're in a situation where he's going to get done by a bit of pace, and it's just a full-on charge. Look, boom, 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 and he's ended up clipping the kiddie as he's cut inside him. Good little cut inside. Is a penalty. Let's move it on to the penalty. Haaland actually mishits this penalty, kind of scuffs it. Still a good penalty. Does what he's supposed to do. Scores the goal. Let's move it on. Here we are on another free kick where a goalkeeper makes an error. I think was it Jordan Pickford, the last one I covered of this? It's happened quite a couple of times this season, and I'm going to show you from that other angle. And we'll just show you straight from there instead of wasting our time. So we want to look at where the keeper is. Okay, perfect. If that's the halfway point of the goal, absolutely great. The wall is defending this half. That's exactly what the wall wants to be doing. I'm defending this half, right? And I'm 1 step over from the half. I mean, his positioning is absolutely perfect, so he can get to that side. And if he scores by bending it up over into here and scoring a worldie, congratulations. You get yourself a new shoe deal because you're David Beckham. Now watch his movement. Watch his movement. Boom, there, look where he is. So when he goes to push off on his power position, look how crumpled his knee is. He's taken a step. He's almost already slipped. He's gone towards this side of the goal, and he can't jump back towards that side. And yeah, is it a great free kick off the post? Yeah, great free kick off the post. But the keeper has automatically gone the wrong way before it's taken and not trusted in his wall to do that job. Stood there, and he may have been able to react to that because it was pretty low. It was a good height for a goalkeeper. I mean, it was about there when it goes in. It's not like it was up here. So he may have been able to get to it because he was there. Then he moved to there, and now he's there. So instead of moving that way, he could have just been where he is now, and then the second motion would have been there. Yeah, that's terrible goalkeeping. Let's move it on. This is just a good strike. I have to have a look at it a sec from another angle, but I don't think there's any ball movement on it. I just think the keeper's just taken unawares. He has got vision of it because he can see the ball after it leaves the defender for about there. That's enough time for him to react. He doesn't, and he just wham, bam, in too early. Now, it is one of those funny strikes, okay, where if you look at it, the trajectory's up and then it kind of dips at the end, but not about there. It dips actually about there. Let's see if I can see it from another angle. This is what I want to look at. Let's watch this ball movement. Is there any? No, it's just powerfully driven into the corner, and the keeper is just rooted. It's just too fast for him. Yeah. Oh well, let's move it on. We're just going to cover this opportunity because this is lazy. This is not what you do if you're supposed to be trying to win the league. This pass comes in here, just completely leaves it. Oh my God, what are you doing? Now, if you want to be a good striker, this is the chances that you finish. If you look at who's that, Rasmus Højlund or Nicholas Jackson, players like that don't score this. Isaac scores this. Mo Salah scores this. That's the difference. Haaland, probably scores it. I don't know. He's just had a sort of a funny season where he scores a lot against the weaker teams and penalties and doesn't seem to do much else otherwise. Yeah, you can't tell me that there's been 3 or 4 games in a row or a game where you can tell me that Haaland took over and ran playing up front. It doesn't happen. Isaac does. So as soon as centre backs don't know what they're doing. Oh no, I've got to go for the ball. Everything goes wrong. Now, from the point you pick up the ball here, your first thing to do is to go back that way because he's going that way. And as soon as he goes back that way, you come back that way. What does he do? No, doesn't even recognise it. Doesn't even recognise the scenario. He just tries to run. Do you see the difference in the defender turning, though? He's turned with his shoulder towards his own goal, so he's coming back facing him instead of turning towards the field. Different level of defending. And it's those little nuances that people just don't understand because Well, one, they've never really coached football, and I don't care if they're like Mikel Arteta or whatever. There's a very different things when you're doing proper technical breakdowns in being a football coach and actually understanding all the little details that make them become a good player. What a lot of coaches they do it in one or the other end. They're coaching good players, so they don't realise all the little tiny mistakes. They don't actually have to build the player to get there in the first place. They just buy them in, right? And that's all they do. It's a completely different level of understanding when you actually know football. And this is the point when he has to hit the target. Taking this shot here, he just has to hit the target. And he doesn't. I'm actually shocked because of the way it was going that he didn't just put it straight into that bottom corner there and just carry on running with it. Just put it there. I think he would have been better off. But we digress. But as so many times in football it happens, you don't get a goal down the other end that might. See, here's the thing. I'm old school. That is a goal. Keeper doesn't have possession. You don't get that one, but then you get this lucky break here. Header in. It's just a free header. I mean, you can throw a blanket over all of the Man City players. If they're playing a short corner, well, these two can connect here. They've got players here. I mean, you can afford, and I always say it, you can afford to have a player up here making sure this doesn't happen. They don't. Just a simple header knocks back into the area. This is poor finishing, though. This is where the goal should have been, not waiting for a lucky rebound. That lucky rebound shouldn't have been a thing. He should have already scored a goal. Everybody gives referees a hard time, but when they do something good, you've got to say it. And this was good refereeing. And Brighton should have won the game with this move. Clearly trying to do a tactical foul. Clearly trying to stop the run of play. Brings him down. And the ref, as a look at it, sees the Brighton player coming over to retrieve the ball. What does he do? Play on, play on. Well done, ref. And as we know, in this channel, someone's got their arm up, telling someone what to do, so someone's about to score in the next 5 seconds. Except for they don't score. This is a classic case here of overlapping, beating the player on the transition, whipping the cross along, and finishing on the back post. Minus the finishing on the back post. As this goes, though, boom, defender's not fast enough. Not fast enough to read that at all. He can telegraph the play. He can see it. And I blame the centre back there. So there's a situation in 2v2s. What you're doing is when the ball, before the ball goes, you shift pressure, right? So I'm pressuring the ball, but my guy's behind me. Now the guy is run, right? And if I go to the guy, he comes to pressure the ball. So we both cover, right? Does that make sense? So as I slide out the way going down the line, my mate comes in to pressure the ball again. That's all they have to do there. As the pass is played, he tracks it and we're covering. So they can't come inside and they don't do that. Instead, they both stand there and the ball just gets blasted across bump and that needs to be a goal. That's their winning opportunity. And I think they had another one later on. Let's cover that as well. Now here he is, busting a gut to run up to take his shot, okay? If you are doing this and putting this much effort in, relax, slow down, and hit the target. One of the most ways that you can score goals in transitions and on powerful things like this is to remember this one simple fact. You are not shooting. You are passing the ball in the goal. And if you can get that in your head and you can do these long runs with just passing the ball in the goal, you'll score goals. Because what happens is the weight of the pass comes across and then you add power to it and it's gone. The keeper's already in panic mode because of the energy of everybody running down the field. His guard's already up and he's already freaking. All you need to do is just pass it in the goal. Also, you've got to put this into account. Look at where the Man City four defenders are. None of the Man City midfield are running back. That shows you their level of effort nowadays. All he has to do is hit the target. Hit the target. And he doesn't. He skyrockets it over. He could have taken a touch, slot it past the keeper, could have done anything, could have sat there, built a picnic table, had a picnic, had Yogi Bear come over, and then still scored. There was nobody on him. That is unforgivable at this level. Well, other than that, I'll see you next time on Cash Talks Football.